Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I've got something really special, an in-depth interview with Michael Jentsch, an environmental artist working on the upcoming PS1 style horror game Heartworm. If you're interested in getting into 3D environment art, or you're just curious about how Heartworm was made or other PS1 style games were made, then this video is for you. This video is supplemented by an article I wrote for survivalhorrors.com, and the article also has some exclusive images of Michael's work. So if you'd like to read more, there's a link to the article in the description. Michael and I cover a wide range of topics, including the use of texture atlases to optimize performance, techniques preventing texture tiling, the benefits of manually placing objects versus using physics, how the door transitions were handled, the game's distinctive art style, and much more. So without further ado, here is my interview with Michael Jentsch.
So hi, my name is Michael. I'm the environment artist from the game Heartworm, and we're over the time of the development we were 7 developers. This includes Vincent, me, Leo, Jacob, Eve, Carlos, and Goba. Yeah. I hope I don't forget somebody. No, that's it. That's it. So, and yeah, my role was here together with Carlos to make the environments for the game. So some of them were already created by Vincent for his earlier stages of the production, and we overworked them, or there were only blockouts, and I made full scenes out of them.
Okay. How are you feeling about the release? Are you nervous? Are you excited, relieved, or is there still some stress before it comes out? Or
everything of what you mentioned, everything. So I'm worried that that is not hitting the taste of the players, but I really think they will like it. But I'm a bit worried too. But on the other side, I'm also relieved that it's now over. It sounds so harsh, but you know what I mean. So it was now a 2.5-year journey. We had this publisher thing in 2023 where the publisher canceled the contract, and we were there with other publisher. So Vincent was on his quest to find a new publisher.
Right.
So then DreadXP gave us the opportunity to finish the game, and we are really thankful for that opportunity. And we really hope we won't disappoint anybody, especially the fans, which are waiting for several years now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So and I'm proud of the work. I'm proud of the team members. I have saw what they did over the last 2.5 years, and it was some of that was just mind blowing, if you know what I mean. So especially Leo, he was my little angel, creative angel, you know. Just a small story, but I had this idea for one of the wilderness scenes where I wanted to make swimming fish in a river, and I tried myself to get that working, but it looked really awful. So and Leo said, "Oh yeah, I did that before." So and in an hour or so, he created a wonderful system for that, and
nice.
I watched it for I don't know 20-30 minutes because it looked so awesome. It's just fish swimming around, jumping out of the water, and then swimming away, and so. But yeah, stuff like that, and that's really cool to have this dynamic, if you know what I mean. I think in a bigger studio, that is nothing which is possible. So from now to then, so that I can say, oh, I need some help here. Can you help me? And then click, it's done. If you know what I mean.
How would you typically go about setting up a scene, for example? Like, is everything done in Blender and then import over to Unity, or?
It depends a bit on the style of the environment. Let's say rooms, for example. I made them completely in Blender and then export them as meshes, and then I made. Sometimes I made the scenes in Unity, but mostly I used the coordinates from Blender transformed, you know, the axes are different in Blender and
Okay.
Unity. So,
Yes.
but yeah, I use that as the placement. So let's say 85 to 90% Blender is some kind of my level editor for the environments.
Right.
Some are made in Unity itself, and so I just export them from Blender to Unity and make them in Unity. I rebuild them, or I build them from scratch when I made modular pieces or so. And yeah, some like the maybe I can show it to you. This is the let me see.
Can I just ask, is there's no pre-rendered, but or is there's some of it pre-rendered? Is that right, or
No, absolutely nothing.
nothing's pre-rendered? It's
Game
all
is real
okay.
time, and Vincent did a really cool post-processing effect. I think he introduced it something in September or October 2023, something like that, where he made it so that because of layers and the post-processing in Unity itself, it looks like they are pre-rendered the backgrounds.
Yeah.
It's a really cool effect.
Okay, but it's not.
Okay.
But it's not pre-rendered. It's just live.
No,
It's almost
it's
a
completely
filler.
live. You can in every scene you can go in, press the right
Okay.
mouse button for the third-person view, and you can look everywhere around you. It was a bit of a hassle.
Yes.
Because you had to keep in mind that the player can always look freely in
Right.
all the scenes.
You
So I
can't.
had
You can't
always,
hide.
yeah, exactly. I always had to make it so that there are no gaps or that there's always a ceiling or stuff like that, so that the
Yes.
player doesn't see stuff that he's not supposed to see.
Yeah.
So I wanted to try to show you the mountain scene, but it seems some of them. Let me just try another one. If it doesn't work, then we switch to another scene. But
Yeah.
so here you could see, for example, one of my of my texture atlases for the scene, where everything is inside.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes there are a lot of. In this case, it's a waste of UV space.
Yes.
But I didn't need more textures. But yeah, it's just a cool thing, not only for performance, but also if you import and you don't have to set up hundreds of materials and then attach the textures to it and stuff. You just create one material, make the textures for it, and then you apply it to everything in the scene, and it's automatically set.
And
So that's really cool.
Did you say that you're using Photoshop to create the atlas?
Yeah, I didn't find a really cool tool that's doing it automatically for me, to be honest. I tried several ones, but yeah, in the end, I just put the texture in, move it in place, take it over to Blender, and then do my UV unwrapping, which is in this way, or for most of the environments, not that hard. So
You just
I know.
you just manually position the UV where you want it to be.
Yeah. Sometimes I take the texture in, and then I make my UV unmapping on the object, and then when I make the atlas, I relocate it,
Right.
or I do it directly in the atlas.
Okay.
For this,
So
you can see for the house.
So am I right in saying you're not baking the materials to an atlas? You're essentially creating the atlas and then wrapping your UV around your atlas.
Most of the times, it's not very much, or not. It's just a few scenes, maybe two or so, where I baked an atlas in Blender. But yeah, mostly it's this approach here, like you can see.
Because
And even that is
sorry,
not the way I prefer it, but it was more efficient to have it repeated here. And there are scenes where it's just really a 128 by 128 pixels texture in the atlas, which I reuse everywhere.
Yes. I personally found the baking process in Blender to be very confusing and not very intuitive.
Yeah. After I used it now for a few years, I get used to it, but it's very it's like you have to go in here, you have to click on your UV map you want to bake. Please don't forget to unwrap your UV map too. Then you go to the material, create an image texture, and hopefully you set it on the right resolution and stuff. It's really
if your model changes in any way, then you have to then fix your UV and then potentially have to rebake. Whereas the method you're using, it's not too difficult to just unwrap and then just move your UV onto the right sort of texture, if you like.
What's a cool scene here? Where's the attic scene? Here's the attic scene. So, for example, this looks a bit weird now because of all the fake god rays I made.
Okay.
I quickly get rid of them.
Oh, nice. So there are the shadows coming up through the floorboards.
Yeah, exactly.
Very nice.
There is. Maybe we can change later to Unity. I can show you one of the earlier scenes when they are lit by Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
But here you can see, for example, what it looks like. This for example, this beams here. That's a good example.
Mm-hmm.
They are made with Substance Painter.
Oh, okay.
I made the texture atlas here. I unwrapped it, very basic with Smart UV project, and then I made the texturing in Substance Painter, and then rendered it out, and then made it into my texture atlas here.
Mm-hmm.
So here, for example, you can see the floor is modular pieces with different kind of top top texturing. So with an alpha channel to fake details.
Mm-hmm.
And everything inside is really just quads here.
Yeah, I really like the pixelated effect that you can use for these like PS1 inspired games.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
It's a cool effect, and it's relatively easy to make.
Mm-hmm.
Not all the textures, but a few were, for example, photos I made here around my home, for example, or here I made the planks.
Mm-hmm.
And reused them and shaped them in Photoshop how I wanted it, so that I have this kind of how can I say, to have a seamless variation.
Yes.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
this
style, for example, I reused in later, not exactly the same texture, but different similar style in later chapters too, because I like the idea of that.
One of the most noticeable things is if you don't have it seamless, it starts to tile really badly, and it's very noticeable. But that looks really good. It's very hard to not have your texture a lot of tiling on it.
So I think with a pattern, me personally, I think when you have some kind of a pattern like here, it's easier for me to make it seamless, like something more organic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, for example, to make grass, the grass make grass seamless without that you can see the pattern of it, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
That is a bit tough. But even then, I found some tricks how I could avoid that. I could or let's jump over to it. I can directly show it to you if you want to see it. For example, here in the suburbs or chapter 3, the intro scene where the adventure starts. Here is what I meant with the grass, and what I did. It was really effective, and I thought, okay, someone will maybe see it. But what I did was I just let's say that's all of our grass tiles now, and just with F3 you go to select random.
Yeah.
So I make it a cool seed or so. I'm an idiot. I don't have to select something. So now, okay. Yeah. And then I just go to the UV editing. So here you can, for example, see this is the texture atlas for the whole scene, for everything you can see here.
Okay. That's impressive. So one texture does everything.
Yeah, it's cool. A bit of a hassle to manage. I talked with our other graphics guy, Carlos, about that, and he said it's impressive that I didn't want to jump out of the window.
Yeah,
but it was some kind of relaxing for me to make the texture atlases and the UV unwrapping here. But okay, so where is our grass? Am I blind? Do you see the grass? Am I blind?
It must be because the UV map's on the road, so it must be a different. Oh no, you have selected the road. Yeah, I see the road now.
Oh yeah, okay,
There's
yeah,
some road. Yeah, it's one
Let's
big.
see
It's
where
one.
it is.
It's one
There it
plane.
is.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay. So yeah, and what I did, yeah, let's just take this for example. Here you can see I was a bit sloppy here. So, but what I did here, let's say this is randomized.
Yes.
So only this. I don't know. So I just selected everything,
rotate
by 90
it.
degrees,
Yes, very good.
and yeah, that really breaks this pattern thing.
That's really smart.
Yeah, really a cheap trick, but it works incredibly well.
Yeah.
So, and then you have this dark lighting because it's raining in the scene, and it's at night, so nobody will ever notice notice this trick.
No, even I can see it's bright. You can't really see any tannin at all.
Mm-hmm.
Looks really good. It's always I tried a little bit of Unreal Engine, and to try and get a texture in a large terrain was always a challenge to get something that looked seamless but wasn't a massive file size. And it's impressive how you've been able to texture an entire scene with a very small square within an atlas.
Yeah, it forces you to how can I say it? It forces you to be careful.
Yeah.
There were parts where I had to really redo huge parts of the atlas, and it's not fun at all, to be honest, if that happens. But yeah, as I said, I think it's some kind of relaxing for me. It's not the best work, but yeah, UV unwrapping a high poly character is much worse in my opinion.
Yeah. So would most of your models be low poly then? They would almost have to be, is that right?
Not exactly. The houses, for example, these were designs that Vincent made for the original demo from a few years ago, and I just took them and I because he used the probe a lot, like I said before, they were a bit unoptimized. So what I did was just here, as you can see, it's really just planes on. I can show you the UV map here too. So it's really just a bit of upgrading. They look visual a bit more high poly because of the texturing, and they are in some way a bit more high poly. But yeah, what is it? Yeah, this house, for example, is 2,200 tris now here. I don't know if it's visible on the screen.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then some tricks I made here with where for example this thing here, I modeled this fence thing in 3D, and then that's the technique I use a lot because I like the shading from the workbench renderer in Blender.
Okay.
So I take the 3D object. Let's say, do I have something here? Let's take this one for example. Let's pretend it's 3D.
Yeah.
So
do a
turn
render.
around. Oh, I have the correct face attribute. So okay. No, that was wrong. So yeah, or we can make it so here. Let's say this. Yeah, I don't know. This is just an example. So and what I do now is setting up a camera here and render it exactly in this view. So to get my texture, then I have this cool alpha already in there. I don't have to make it manually. And then when I downscale it in Photoshop, for example, then I get this cool pixelation, for example. That's a cool technique that I like. It doesn't take too much. Okay, this is a bad example here now.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are.
I did something similar with a storage container that was corrugated, and it had all of it was very, very high poly, and I did exactly what you just described. I just did a render of the side of it and put it on a plane, so it's...
Yeah, that's a cool technique. technique, right?
You pretty
Or
much.
the trash cans, for example, are similar.
And the camera in Heartworms it's quite high up in parts. Your camera's not going to be inspecting objects like it's not like a first person shooter where you're like right against it. So I think you can get away with a lot more in these kind of games.
Yeah. See the trash cans here. I made it with this exact same style that I described earlier, or that you already did.
Yeah.
And I think for a PSX-like game, it's convincing enough, even in the close-up. So the cool thing is that you have no filtering on the textures, so it doesn't matter if it's pixelated when you're up front.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, here, for example, because I have a lot of stuff here, there are a lot of things are combined as one mesh to save on performance. So when
for collision reasons, or
yeah, if you have every trash can, for example, as a separate object, the cool thing is you can use occlusion culling in Unity, so that it's when it's not in the camera, it's not rendered.
Oh, okay.
But on the other hand, if you have hundreds of objects in a scene, it can really slow down the scene.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, because it has to think about all the objects.
Yeah, don't ask me. Like I said, I'm not a coder.
Yeah.
I'm not completely sure why this stuff is happening in Unity. I'm just a graphics guy, if you know.
And these,
I know. Yeah.
These rocks.
Yeah, sorry.
In the background, the rocks, are they like scattered, or what is that, like a geometry node, or what kind of? Did you manually place them, or is that like a?
That is a good question. I think that could be physically placed.
Right.
I know I remade then the first version of the scene had different rocks. But it could be that I made one pile of rocks and copied them over.
Yeah.
But it could also be it's not geometry nodes. I used almost none of them. In a few of the wilderness scenes, I used them for the placement for the trees. But in most of the scenes, this is either with physics, that I placed it with physics. For example, the books here in front of the safe room.
Mm-hmm.
They are placed with physics too.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can tell here if you look closely
that
it's a bit. But yeah, it's a PSX charm that it's not perfect. Or here you can see a bit of that it's clipping into the shelves.
Yeah. Again, the camera will probably never pick that up though, from where you see it. But
yeah.
I always find if you
look
try,
at the scene,
if you try,
I'm sure no one will notice it. Sorry.
I was just going to say, if you try and manually place things, I always find it's very staged. Whereas if you use physics or you use geometry nodes or some sort of random scattering process, it always looks much better because for some reason you can tell whenever something's been manually staged.
Yeah.
I don't know what, it's just like.
I really can't tell you, but I know exactly what you mean. You can tell if it's something is hand placed, or I think let's say 20 years ago the games it was or the players preferred when the devs placed things manually, but nowadays they want to, or they think it's better when it's placed via physics or with geometry nodes or other stuff, scripts or so, something that's reading the vertex or the face or something like that and placing because of that. Yeah, it's funny how it's changed. Yeah. But for example, here this reading room scene. Let me hear this, for example. There is everything placed manually. All the stuff on the floor. It's not that much, but this is all placed manually. All the books are placed manually in here. But I copied it over sometimes here, so you can. I try to make it so that it's not obvious, but some parts are copied over.
It looks really good.
Because that is stuff that is taking most of the time. These small things here. This is even the old version I see now. We have now. I replaced all the picture frames, the painting frames, with paintings. This is the old version here where I didn't do that. So there's only I think 1 or 2 rooms that have blank paintings because of the lore behind the room, but the rest has now paintings in it. Shout out to Jakub, my team member, who is a phenomenal artist. I really, I never saw another dude draw so good paintings.
Did he do
that you can see it in the game?
Did he do the concept art, or was that someone else?
We didn't really work with concept art, to be honest. There were
sorry, my mistake. What I mean is the artwork for the main. I don't know how you call it.
You mean the banner in Steam?
Yes, the paint. I believe is it an oil painting, or it certainly looks like an oil painting.
That was not from Jakub. That was from an artist that Vincent hired before we all joined the project.
Okay.
But for example, the new Steam banner is drawn by Jakub. He draw, for example, all the items, all the item icons. He draw them per hand, and there were, I think, 1 or 2 examples where I made the 3D model first, and then he painted it as an icon. But most of the times, he made the icons, and then I made 3D items out of it that we can place in the scene. But yeah, awesome. Yeah. I really can't wait to see it in game. So
yeah, I do really like the inventory and seeing all the little icons. It really, I do like that, and it's a bit of a staple of survival horror games, like going back to sort of Resident Evil and things like that. Can you? I can't.
I'm very proud of that too.
It's
maybe I can show you.
It's been a while since I played the demo, but are you able to inspect the items in your inventory the way, like as a 3D object, or?
No, we discussed that.
Yeah.
I would love to have that in, so also that you can, like in Resident Evil 1, for example, rotate them and have some kind of puzzles in the inspecting screen itself. But we decided against that.
Yeah.
But that was really an idea we had. But we stick to the icons.
Yeah.
For it. But I am really proud. That's my first really big project where I'm working on, and I was a bit worried. Okay, how will it feel when it's done? And the first time when there was a complete build where you could play from the beginning to the end, when I played that was an awesome feeling for me. So you really had, it's feeling like a game. It has puzzles in it. You have the exploration aspect and stuff. So it really felt, because normally when I make a scene, I go into the scene, I place some stuff, or Vincent mostly set the rooms up so that I can walk into it, and then I check, are there any graphical issues or so? But you don't really play them, if you know what I mean. So, and then when I saw everything put together for the first time, with the inventory, with the icons, with the environments, with the lighting, with the sound effects and stuff like that, that was an awesome feeling, and it made me really proud. So I had this big of a smile. And Vincent, for example, I don't know if I can say that. Let me say that. So he made there's a chess puzzle in the game, and he added an AI and chess AI to it. And the first time I really played from start to beginning, I didn't know that the chess AI was in there. And I was surprised by it, and then I tried to fight the AI for maybe, 45 minutes before I was able to beat it. And then Vincent told me there's a much simpler solution to it. Right. It's really like a puzzle.
Yeah.
If you want, you can play chess with the AI, but it's really just a puzzle that you can solve in a few moves.
Right.
But that was really cool, for example, and then it really felt like a game, like a complete game. Of course, there were stuff. I found scenes where I made huge mistakes. There were, for example, an area in the Main Street scene where the floor was missing, where you could fall through the floor. Stuff like that. Okay, but overall, it was a cool experience, and I can't wait for you guys to play that. Yeah. Especially for you, Jamie.
I'm looking forward to I mean, honestly, that was the one thing that stood out to me from any of the kind of updates that Vincent was posting and you were posting. The environments was what really drew me to the game, I mean,
Yeah, that's really cool.
and
It gives you creative freedom to make them. Um, Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt
well,
you.
no, I
Sorry.
was just gonna say like going back to like the old sort of PS1 type games. Like I remember just exploring environments, and that was part of the fun of playing games back then. And it does feel like Heartworms bringing that back, that kind of exploration of it's not traditional environments. Like there's some very sort of obscure scenes and things like that.
Yeah, I hope that the scenes are, let's say, weird and obscure enough that it will surprise the players.
Yeah.
We have really scenes in there. So the cool thing is, so maybe the players. I hope everyone who watched this watched the trailer too. But you can. There's this little bit of explanation what's going on in the game. The character Sam has lost her grandfather in a short time before. So and she finds in the internet there are places. They are called thresholds where you can go over to the other world.
Mm-hmm.
It's not only that you go in there and it's like you are in hell or something like that. It's like a personal journey. The other world is it's consisting of places from your memories. If you
Okay.
would go in there, you had completely other environments than, for
Mm-hmm.
example, Sam had, or I would when I would go in, and that's really cool. So and Vincent really thought out the backstory for Sam. So and we we put her main memories, loss or scary things she saw when she was a child or when she was younger or so. That we made environments out of that, and that was a really cool thing. It was I love to make this grounded environments, like I showed you the house, for example. I love to make that, but sometimes it's really cool when you can
Have more
when you
freedom.
can go wild, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So there are
Yeah, and I would imagine that's kind of harder to do because there's not really any reference to go on, or it's maybe hard to find something because I would always have to try and find something to base it on. But some of the surreal environments you've created are unlike any I've sort of seen before. So what did you use something to inspire you to create some of these worlds, or what kind of influences did you have?
Yeah, all kind of influences. For some scenes, for example, I knew, let's say, okay, this should be a cave, for example. There was a basic block out or so, or we had an idea how it should be. Let's say the player comes from point A and moves through this, and then he comes to point B, something like that. Some scenes I completely made out of my mind. So where I just had an idea. Okay, let's say I want to make now this kind of environment, and just started. Sometimes it worked really well, and sometimes yeah, we didn't have a real purpose for it in the game. Let me show you, for example, this one here. These three scenes, for example, are scenes that I started creating without a real plan behind it.
Right.
So in the end, we scrapped them.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, for example, one where I said, "Oh, well, it would be cool to have some kind of a highway scene,
Mm-hmm.
which would be here would be cars placed or so, and there is some kind of a labyrinth that the player has to go through and stuff like that. So it's not finished here. For example, there are no stairs where you could go down. Um, but yeah, this scene, for example,
Oh yeah.
I started it, I made it, and then yeah, we don't have really, it doesn't fit anywhere,
Yeah.
so we scrapped it. And then other scenes, I talked with Vincent about that. I have this idea, and he says, "Great, make that, do that."
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's all kind of some. This, for example, I watched a while ago. I watched the movie Daylight with Sylvester Stallone, where they are trapped in
Oh
this
yes,
kind of
yes, yes. They're the
tunnel.
tunnel.
So
Yeah, yeah. I remember that one.
that, you know, that I wanted to make similar.
Yeah, that's a good movie. So
Mm.
that's an old one. That's like the '90s, maybe, or like it's quite.
Yeah, I think I would say it's maybe 97 or
Yeah,
something like that.
it's a classic.
Yeah, not his best movie, but it has this 90s charm to it.
Yeah, yeah. There was one scene that I wanted to ask you about, and it was like almost like a large cathedral. It was like very dark and foggy. Um, there was Sam's kind of in the foreground, and then there's like a very large pillars in the background. Are you able to talk about that scene at all? Or maybe do you remember what it is? Maybe I have to refresh your memory.
Yeah. That's one of the last scenes the player
Maybe you're not allowed
will
to.
encounter.
Maybe you're not allowed to talk about that one. Um,
Yeah,
is it
can.
possible to talk about it without spoilers? I suppose, like what, or does it kind of ruin the game for people a little bit? Maybe.
I don't think it will. It will just. Maybe it's better if we don't show it
Yeah, that's
because
fine. That's
it should
fine.
be a surprise. It should be a surprise for
I
them.
think,
It's
yeah,
not.
that's fine. I was surprised myself anyway. 'Cause I do. I'm looking forward to that section.
Yeah,
So
that was. By the way, let me take a look. That's so funny for me because I was at a stage where I say I'm done multiple times on the project now, and I thought this scene, the cathedral scene here on January 28th on January 2025. I thought, okay, now it's done. I made everything, and after that they came 20 new rooms that I made. So yeah, but that's funny to me. That this was what you have saw earlier. That should have been the last scene, but as you know, there are ideas
yeah.
when there are creative guys,
Hmm.
and especially Vincent. And I'm so glad that he did that. I loved every idea he had. He thought, okay, I want to flesh out the last chapter a bit more. So he he after I finished here, he got in, and then he blocked out room after room after room, and then I modeled them to real rooms. That's really cool. A few of them of these scenes you can see in the trailer. It's just a split second or so that you can see them, but
Yeah.
yeah, there are a few of the scenes that we made after this last cemetery scene. Um, yeah, but that's fun for me. I loved because, like you said, we are all these survival horror, these classic survival horror lovers, and I love the exploration aspect. And I'm glad that Vincent said, okay, we need because the ambience in the last chapter when you enter the building. Let's say when you enter the building and you have a huge entrance hall in this when you go in,
Hmm.
and now we have all the rooms around it, so
Oh,
that it's
okay.
like this. It's not exactly the same, but I love to compare it with the Spencer Mansion from the first Resident Evil
Yeah.
game.
No,
It's now connected with each other, and
I did get a Spencer Mansion vibe because of the doors. There was that little teaser of the door transition. Um,
oh yeah, the door transitions. I'm glad that it's over.
you had to model. You had
That
to model hundreds of doors.
yeah, some kind of that. So I made the door transitions. So Leo made a very cool system for that. He wrote me, I think it was 3 or 4 pages, a document how to set them up, how I can set the animator up in Unity and stuff. And so I animated them, and I think I didn't count it, but I think it was maybe something like 80, 85, 86 door transitions, unique door transitions that we
Yeah.
had. Some are there's one, for example, that you can in one playthrough you can only see one of them. So you have to do certain things to see the other one.
Right.
I think naturally most of the players will only see this one door transition, for example. But I made other version of that. Then we have yeah, the classic ones like in the trailer where the door is going it's opening and the player goes through it.
Yeah.
Then we have some kind of specials where you go a spiral stairs down and stuff like that. And I made some with a boat that was cool to make, where the door transition is you're inside the boat and you have the pedals with the right spinning. That was a cool one.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have all kinds of door transitions. We have door transitions where you only go through a forest path, and we really use the door transitions as they are really for loading. It's
Loading.
not just
Yeah.
a visual gimmick. They are
Okay.
really to hide the loading a bit, but we try to expand the idea a bit so that it's not just okay. We copy the door transitions, but we use it for other things too, like going down the path or so, or
Hmm.
you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I like them. I do think it kind of it reminds you of Resident Evil and the classics. So it's nice that they're in there.
Yeah, that's I don't know why, but if you think about classic survival horror, you always have this fixed camera angles and the door transitions.
Well, I don't know if you that's basically what the logo I chose for my website was a red
Ah,
door.
yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
because like that's always what I think about with either escaping through a door or like going into to the next level. It's just there's something about that door transition that kind of immediately makes me think of survival horror. So it's nice that you've included that because I can imagine it took a lot of time to add something like that in. But and whenever you're texturing the doors and some of the kind of more detailed objects, what's can you describe what that workflow is? Is that like are you hand drawn some of these, or I assume it's done outside? Oh, you said Substance, is that right? You're using Substance.
I used every
Everything.
trick in the book. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
some of them are hand painted, some of them I kit bashed from photos, for
Yes.
example.
Yes.
Some of them were just textures I made earlier for another scene and modified them,
Mm-hmm.
or just sometimes I just changed the color or so.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, it's all of that.
Bit of
So
everything.
sometimes I redid them because I didn't like them.
Mm-hmm.
It's for example the first three, yeah, or let's say 2.5 chapters are much more advanced than they were before. I were going back to them and modified them after we had the new deal with or the new contract with DreadXP, so we had a bit more time. So I thought, okay, now I go back and I upgraded a bit so that it's visible that we had more time, so
Yeah.
that it's not wasted, if you know what I mean. So and they are upgraded visually, or the geometry changed, or the scenes changed by itself. Like I said with the door transitions, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's really there were textures that I made that were completely gone, or I modified them. I made them from scratch again.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah. I wish I had. My brain is not the best when it comes to that, and it's 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I wish I could remember better certain
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
But is there something here? Maybe I can. Maybe I have one of the old scenes to compare. This is, for example, these are colliders I made. Maybe it's interesting for the viewers or so.
Uh-huh.
These are the footstep colliders that I made for the scene. So when the player is
Oh yes.
walking one of these colliders, then it's changing here. And underneath is, for example, there's carpet. Yeah, we
Okay.
can hide it here. And there's wood. Here is carpet again. On the sides is wood and stuff like that. Yeah, that's. I didn't make the colliders for every scene. Some of them were made by Vincent, but I tried to help him as much as
Yeah.
possible
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that because with all the coding stuff and so, I wanted to help him as much as I could. But here, yeah, that's for example the upgraded foyer scene from the abandoned house from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And there was, for example, these are all decals.
You're right.
Here, all this stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
I think I upgraded. Yeah, there's some weird shading issue. Don't know what this is, but I'm glad that it's not in the game. Maybe it's something. Yeah,
Shade
it's
flat.
where
Or...
custom knowledge. So yeah, details here, or what I liked. Often I made, not in every scene, but in most of the scenes, I tried to make it as basic as possible. Here, the chandeliers, for example, are just faces that are crossed here.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can see here in detail, it's not very detailed, the posts, for example. But yeah, in the game, when it's coming all together, it works really well. I was a bit worried about that, but I'm glad that I how can I say, that I was proven wrong, if you know what I mean.
I remember years ago that's how they used to do trees in old games. Um,
My first trees were the same for the wilderness,
yeah.
but we decided after a while, I think 1 or 2 months after I made them, we decided, okay, yeah, maybe they are a bit too basic,
Mm-hmm.
so I remade them. I tried to make them as low poly as possible, so each tree is something like between 400 and 800 tris, something like this.
It's always the leaves on. Well, cylinders can add a lot of polys, a lot of vertices, but I always
They're much
find
more high poly than the PSX game, but they are much more low poly than a tree currently in
yes.
I think when I look through art sites and look for inspiration or so, let's say ArtStation, and there's someone presenting their trees, they look really awesome,
They're far
and
too
they
high
write low
poly.
poly, and then I look into it, and
Yeah.
that's something like, I don't know, 500,000 tris for one tree.
Right.
That's not the what I would like to describe as low poly, if you know what I
No,
what I mean.
not if there's going to be 50 or 60 in a scene. You know, it's going to start to add up.
Oh, I wish I could show you the mountain. See, there would be all the trees that I have here. Or do I have maybe here something here? Oh no, it's there. That's also, yeah. Most of there's really much faking here. Like you can see here for this walls, for example. This is the bedroom from the intro cutscene. But we have another version which is playable here. Ah, I almost spoiled something. Okay, that I took a second thought. But yeah, this is the version for the intro cutscene, and then we have another one which is walkable, where
Okay.
you can do
Okay.
things inside.
Right.
But I wish I could show you some trees. But here you can see that's where how I make these tree line
Yeah.
textures. It's like, if I'm correct, this I made this with geometry mode
Yes.
nodes.
Yes. Yes. That looks like it's just scattered on the plane. Oh no,
But maybe
you must have applied it, maybe.
yeah, I think so, but I can't select it. What did I do here? Oh no, I think I worked with this add-on called
Right.
what is it called? GeoScatter, I think it's
Yes,
called
I've heard of that
GeoScatter.
one. Yeah.
Because I think it's really easy. Yeah, it's really easy to make here some kind of a small forest. If I
Hmm.
get rid of that here, for example, you just select, here
Yes,
are my
that's right.
trees,
Yeah. And you
and you
can.
just select them,
The nice thing
and
is you can extend that plane as far as you want, and it'll
um,
just keep scattering more.
yeah, exactly. You can make it really hard. Where was it? Was it in a distribution? Yeah, you can go really hard here. For example, let's say per instance here one or so, and then you have this.
Yeah.
And I think for this kind of stuff, that's really cool. You can make your random scaling, then random rotation was somewhere here. Here it is, random rotation. I like to tilt the trees a bit with 9% tilting here. And you can say here limit self collision, so that you can say, okay, around, let's say 40 centimeters of a tree, there shouldn't be another tree, so that they don't
Mm-hmm.
throw in each other. Um, yeah, here it's not completely working. Maybe it's because it's too much here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's for example. And then I rendered that as a 2D texture, and use it as the edge of the maps in the wilderness, for example.
Mm-hmm.
That it's cool to make everything from scratch. Sometimes I do that too, but I love that we have the possibility nowadays to make such things, if you know what I mean. I often do that stuff like that here. In the funeral home that was in the demo, I can show that too. The walls in there, for example, are also made with the same technique. I modeled them in 3D. So these walls, for example, all the details in it, it's I modeled it in 3D, and then I baked or I rendered it with the workbench, and then I made it so pseudo 3D, if you know what I mean. So
Okay.
with 3 layers or so, and maybe here I rotated a bit a face or so, that it looks a bit more 3D when
Yeah.
you are in front of it and look into it.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was a blockout from Vincent that had already had that inside the small connection room here. But I like the idea, so I reused it in the last chapter, for example, too. There's
Mm-hmm.
also one big hallway with two hallways which are connected with such a small in between room, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also a good example. This is a location that exists in a similar manner in real life. This is these are all things that are in the near the location where Vincent is. Oh my God! Sometimes my English, where Vincent lives.
Oh,
So
right,
and
okay.
this funeral house, for example, is a real house which he visited when he was younger. So this is all. So a lot of the real world locations here are from Winston's memories.
Right.
So similar, like they are a part of Sam's past.
Mm-hmm.
They are also from Vincent's past in real
Right.
life. The houses in the neighborhood scene that I showed you earlier, these are, for example, houses that are in his neighborhood. They are existing for real.
I was gonna ask you, how does someone from Germany model something in America so well? Because it does like feel it feels authentic, but you've just answered that, so it's actually from Vincent's.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
The house
it
in the
feels
neighborhood.
very authentically American, and that's a hard thing to do for someone that is not from America, you know.
Yeah, you're right. Often in scenes, I ask the team if they can take a look,
Yes.
if it's maybe because I was worried that it's not like America, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So and sometimes I have had to change it. Sometimes they said, yeah, it's exactly like in America.
Uh,
So that was really cool. It's also really cool that because the team is spread out across the globe, if you know what I mean.
yes.
So I'm from Germany, Vincent and Eve are from America, Jacob is from Poland, Leo is from Spain, and Goba is from America too. Carlos is from Brazil, for example. That's really cool. So everybody has some kind of a cultural thing that you
Yes,
can
they can
bring
add
into the
to it.
game.
I think that's nice about indie studios and indie games, really. And I honestly think that's the future. Something that it's very hard for bigger publishers to get away with is like these kind of satellite people working on different things. I think
Yeah,
I
I
think
know exactly what you mean. I can't imagine how it would be to be in a AAA studio
yeah,
because it must be so hard if you have an idea or so to get it approved or so, and
exactly. Yeah,
that's cool when we are so. It's really I
more
have an idea.
agile.
Vincent, I have a surprise for you. What you think about that? Oh yeah, that's cool. I thought about that too. There was one scene where he said he had a similar idea, and then he showed me screenshots from I don't know 4 years ago or so.
Hmm.
That was really cool. And then I took his screenshots into my scene and incorporated his ideas from his past. Also, that's really cool. Something
Yeah,
like that, and everybody's happy
yeah.
when it's done.
No, it's nice to hear that story about Vincent, and I think you can tell when something's authentic, and it's when something sort of comes from past experience. It's really obvious. Um, it's obvious when it's not,
Yeah,
though. So, but it's looking great. Like I
I,
think
I,
this is a nice scene.
I yeah, I know, but the thing is this. I don't know if this funeral home, for example, even exists anymore. But I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
I had just a picture that was something like this here with a few people sitting there and this wall or a similar wall,
Uh-huh.
and that's all I had. So this, and I hope that works for Americans. But this part here in front,
Mhm.
is all from my imagination
Yeah.
or from the back from Vincent's block out that he had before. The scene existed in a similar way, so the basic layout, but it looked way different. But for example, what I reused, these chairs were made by Vincent himself.
Okay.
So
How long had Vincent worked on it before you got on board? Then how long is the overall project? Do you know?
that's a good question. I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think he began working on it in 2020. Yeah, I think in 2020
Right.
he started. Let me quickly look into. I know
Because
Dread asked the same thing a few days ago. So the cat is stealing my mouse. Okay, stop it. So
I
they asked.
I think that COVID was largely um, helped the survival horror scene, because I think a lot of people during COVID or slightly after COVID started working on survival horror projects, and I think that's part of why we see so many of them, because people had like more free time. They were
Yeah,
in their house more, and they needed something to do, so they just started making a game, and we're seeing like this explosion of survival horror now, and I think it's because it's taken this long for those games to be released that started way back then. So I wouldn't be surprised if he started during lockdown or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure there are a few of these that are coming out now. So okay, here I found 3 screenshots. So really old with a really old player character that doesn't look like Sam, and Vincent Road. So these here are old screenshots. The 2 with the old player model are from 2019/2020.
Yeah.
So something like that.
Which is COVID, like prime COVID time. I think that's there's definitely a correlation between COVID and a massive survival horror.
Yeah. I think there must be something there where I found Vincent's channel, maybe auch 2 in 2020 or 2021, something like that. Oh yeah, that's also a thing. Some, not much, but some areas have some kind of PBR texturing.
Right.
Here in this case, it's emission for the lights and the windows, and these, I don't know how it's called, these things here. Lighting change also.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I understand.
These
fairy lights, I think they call it sometimes.
Is it called fairy light? Yeah, I'm really not sure. I don't know what the word in German is, to be honest, for these things. But yeah, these have there's an emission map for this. Then here I experimented with 3D rooms, but that was
how does that translate?
Sorry.
I was just going to say, how does that translate to Unity though? Does it retain that those emission values, or do you have to then
Yeah, perfectly. Okay. You just set up your material, and then you say, okay, I want to use emission. Then you just put in the emission map, and it's using exactly like it's here.
Okay.
What with this values here, and then when you bake the lighting, it's influencing the rest. Then that's really easy, really cool. Works really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes, what I just wanted to say, sometimes we have a bit of normal mapping for these things. For example, we have normal mapping and a few others, but I would say 90% or even more of the scenes doesn't have more than just an albedo map.
Yeah.
And light bake, of course.
Well,
light
because for normal maps and displacement maps and things like that, you need really high poly models, like a high poly mesh for something like that to get.
You're right.
You know, if you're using
sometimes it looks really wrong.
Yeah, if you're using a flat plane, it doesn't work as well. I just noticed on your atlas there, you have that nice little blend where you've got the path and the grass. I was going to ask you how you did that, but I can see you've actually. I was wondering how the path blended into the grass there, but I can see it's a texture.
Yeah, it's just easy. I just made the sand path here. Took this grass path here. Yeah, and then I think maybe I just draw a box here, set it to feather, I don't know, maybe 10 pixels or so, and then press delete, something like that.
That's smart, because there are ways of setting up texture nodes in Blender, but it can make the scene quite slow, but also it doesn't translate well into another engine, because certain nodes don't come out of Blender and go into because they're like specifically for Blender.
There are so many cool shader things you can do with the nodes in Blender,
but they're almost.
But sometimes,
useless.
It's really hard to get it over to Unity, for example.
Yeah, you probably have to bake it, and that's the issue then, because.
And then you can texture it in other ways, more efficient if you have to bake it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to bake it, of course, if it's some kind of a procedural texture, for example. But if it's something like this here, that's easier to make with 2 textures or so, in my opinion, than to get the hassle with baking the whole path here.
Yeah.
To blend and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's when you see it up close, it's really not that.
No, I think it looks good up close.
So.
I think it looks good up close too, to be honest. It looks great. It looks well blended in, you
know. Yeah, that's always something. That's why I use the same texture here, and so that it's still seamless to the grass.
Are those leaves? They're in the texture, aren't they? Or they're not like...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's nice.
The original version that Vincent made was a bit more dark and a bit more less detailed. I was glad that he didn't rip my head off, because I changed the whole way, like how the streets are looking, the whole pavement, and so it's completely different than these grass things here in between. That was not there. But I'm glad that Vincent was satisfied with it. I always feel a bit guilty when I change too much from the original idea. The basic layout is the same. I made more houses here which were not there. There were houses in the original, but they were just, I think, copies or so from them.
Yeah.
So I made unique houses here for the sides. So I don't know. That's maybe some Monk thing. I don't know if you know the TV show Monk, but that I have this kind of, okay, I have to make it as unique as possible, that it does not look like copy pasted everywhere. That's a bit of my thing. Not the best skill or attribute, or I don't know how it's called.
OCD.
But yeah, I tried. Yeah,
I think you had OCD, that guy.
Yeah, OCD, exactly. That's perfect. OCD describes it perfectly. But here you can see this house, for example, is the same as this, with a little bit of a different path here and another color. So, but as long as it's not noticeable, this is blocked off here, so the player will never get closer to this house, so he will not see, okay, it's the exact same house, and so.
Right.
And then I'm fine with that. Yeah, here, perfect. Here can show you one of my low poly trees here, which are more detailed than just crossed faces. But it's the same.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the same with a bit more. No,
that looks really good, because
variety, rotation, and so on.
I've had trees where they have individual leaves or the planes, but I think this works better because it's more efficient. Like it's too much, I think, sometimes when they have like too many planes. I think that looks really good.
Yeah. The whole scene here, and this is one of the bigger scenes, has 130k trees inside. I wish I could. I maybe have to experience that, but we didn't have any major performance issues, so I didn't change it for now. But I wish that I have every tree by itself. But then we have this other problem that I mentioned earlier, that it could affect. I always a bit worried. Here, you're great. Here you can see.
Okay.
These are from this other scene where I rendered the trees.
Yeah.
So
works well.
Yeah, because we had one scene in the abandoned house where there were hundreds of prefabs in the scene, and it took 1.5 minutes if you go into this room to load. So, and I'm always a bit worried because of that, so that I'm combining stuff like bushes or so. Or here, even I didn't do that here. That's a good way to optimize. But normally bushes or foliage in general, I combine to one mesh.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's not necessary, to be honest. I don't know, but but yeah, this is the scene I wanted to show you. That is also that I made for myself, and we had it in the game, but then in the end it was cut because it didn't really have the purpose.
Right.
It just it made the way longer for the player to arrive a certain area, so we cut it out of the game.
But I guess you can still reuse assets from it for different scenes, maybe.
Absolutely, the benches I reused in other scenes, and the trash cans we reused in other scenes, and maybe more. I don't know. The bushes were, I think, from another scene, but yeah, we definitely reuse stuff here. And I also dream of the of the Vincent cut, maybe together with console releases or so, where we put back in all the cut content.
Yeah, that'd be nice. It's a tough transition period to go from one project to another. It must be. It's bittersweet, I would imagine, where you're excited and relieved to get it finished, but then it's like, what next? That's the kind of the hard part almost.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard to say. Like I said earlier, I'm relieved on one side because okay, now we come to the end and we're done with it. But on the other side, I wish I could work more on it.
Yes, yes.
I don't know, not because I want to make it perfect, more just like
Because you
I don't
enjoyed
want
your
to
time.
lose it. Yeah, I really enjoyed the journey we had.
Mhm.
Sometimes it was tough, especially with our first publisher. We had a very strict milestone plan, and that was really tough. But nonetheless, even if it was sometimes, some days it was not that much fun because of the timeline.
Mm.
You know, okay, I have to get done 2 more scenes till tomorrow or so, and yeah,
Stressful.
yeah, a bit stressful. And but even with that situations, I really love to work on the game. And shout out to the whole team again, guys. I love you. It was a pleasure to work with you.
Okay, I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I really appreciate you giving us a wee bit of a sneak peek there.
Yeah, I thank you that you made an interview with me. That's really an honor for me, and yeah, I can't wait to see you play the game.
Thanks so much again for your time, Michael, and to anyone listening to this, Heartworm is available to wishlist or buy depending on when you're watching this. And I'll also leave links to Michael's Twitter in the description of this video, as well as links to the Steam page for the game and links to the article. Thanks everyone for watching.
There's a room that can take you to the other side. I just wanted to let you know, in case I don't come back.